So the president did ask Matthew Whitaker if he could put a Trump supporter in charge of the SDNY investigation. Is that an impeachable offense? President Richard Nixon faced impeachment for obstructing and impeding the investigation into the Watergate break-in, but he resigned before there was a trial. And my next guest saw it all up close and personal. John Dean joins me now. John, good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Do you see Nixon-Watergate comparisons in what the president was reportedly trying to do here?
Every day I see comparisons. These are presidents that have no hesitation whatsoever, of abusing their powers and using their powers in an abusive way. And that's what we're seeing with Trump. The difference is Nixon understood how the machinery of government works. Mm-hmm. He understood the presidency. Donald Trump really doesn't. He's sort of learning as he goes along, and I just think he's going to get more dangerous as he proceeds.
So Flynn, the Russia investigation, and now seemingly trying to influence the SDNY Michael Cohen probe. Are we beyond Watergate territory right now?
We are beyond Watergate because of what's at stake here. Richard Nixon was never suspected as somebody who might be an agent of the Russians or the Chinese or anybody else. Nixon was clearly anti-communist. That's the reason he could go to China when nobody else could without severe criticism. And he was always considered a patriot. So his problem wasn't that he was any way suspect of being a Manchurian candidate. He was anything but that, while this president certainly is suspected of that.
When the president asks his then acting AG whether U.S. Attorney and Trump supporter Geoffrey Berman, someone he appointed, could unrecuse himself from an investigation that involves the president, again, that's according to the New York Times, is that obstruction?
The obstruction law itself, the federal statute, the criminal statute, is very broad. It deals with endeavors, even having the intent of doing it. When you get into the area of impeachment, it's just what is politically considered obstruction. So there's a big difference. And Nixon did lots of things that tried to impede investigations that Trump is nudging into that area when he's calling the Southern District and saying, hey, can't we get our right man in charge here?
Can you think of any reason, any benign reason, why the president would want Geoffrey Berman to be in charge of the Cohen investigation after he already recused himself?
Well, the obvious answer is he had personally interviewed Berman. He's one of Rudy's law partners. He is well respected as a prosecutor, but apparently Trump has the feeling that those who are loyal to him may not even have to be told what to do, but will do the right thing, like Whitaker has evidenced, somebody who was ready to jump on a grenade for the president. And I don't think the president told him that he just understood that was his job.
Do you know any examples? Can you give me or give the audience any examples where an official who has already recused himself from an investigation decides to, I'm going to change my mind, I'm going to reverse that, and now I want to be part of that investigation?
I can't at the prosecutorial level. I have in the back of my head that's happened at the Supreme Court where somebody is unrecused after being recused. But it is very rare. It is not the norm. And there are reasons that people recuse themselves. Their conflicts or personal involvement. They can't be dispassionate in dispensing justice. And to unrecuse somebody, even to ask them, could be considered an endeavor to obstruct justice in the broadest sense of the word.
So how is the pattern of trying to interfere considered? Because this is not an isolated incident. President Trump wanted Sessions to unrecuse himself too, remember?
That's exactly right. And very specifically on the Russia investigation, as anything that seems to be targeting Trump, he wants to be sure that he has somebody who he thinks will be disposed favorably towards him running that investigation. But Don, that's not going to work because the rank and file people in the Department of Justice, in the U.S. Attorney's offices, they're going to balk if they see a corrupted investigation being stamped down from the top. That's very, they'll only take so much, and if they see misconduct, they're going to speak out. There are going to be a lot of whistleblowers if this stuff starts happening.
Hey, John, I've got 10 seconds left. Why do you say that Roger Stone should be in jail?
Because he violated his bail, and he made a threatening charge against the judge. Very simple.
Who does that? Roger Stone, right? Thank you so much, John Dean. I appreciate it. The former acting head of the FBI telling CNN that he thinks the president could possibly be a Russian asset. More from the interview next.